Hello everybody, welcome to the OVRC WTCC race at Monza. We're back at Monza again.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Last time it was an interesting race in the GT3, but we're not in GT3s this time. We are now in the World Touring Car Cup cars. Is it a cup? I think it's a cup. Front wheel drive, quite a bit different cars as a whole compared to the cars we were running last time. Obviously GT3's rear wheel drive. Front wheel drive, about the two biggest differences you can have in a car. So, and back at Monza. So, are you excited for this race, Owen?
I'm very excited. Of course, our last races in the WTCC were very exciting. So let's see what Monza brings to the table.
Yep.
Very different track from Zandvoort.
Very different track indeed. A lot more straights, there's a lot flatter. It's actually a bit of an easier circuit to drive as a whole. Doesn't mean it's going to be less action. One major rule change this time round is that we are now implementing reverse grids for race 2. Remember last time we did have two races, two 20-minute races. We're still in the same format in that regard, but the second race will have reverse grid order. So if you're in P8, you will be at the front of the grid in the second race. Should add a bit of excitement there, maybe jumble up the order a bit. I mean, we didn't need it last time because the order got very jumbled up after the first race, but it's there now, so that's going to be an interesting mechanic into the race, I think.
More chaos than the turn one.
More chaos into turn 1. So let's just quickly get over the tracks, and again it's Monza, so it's a 5.793 kilometer circuit with 11 turns, very well known for its being very high speed dependent, not very much, you run literally zero wing depending on some cars, and it's all about straight line speed and corner exit. Now, WTC is a bit slower in the straight compared to GT3, but the exits are actually a lot more important due to the way the cars handle. They're a lot harder to get the power down, I say, from my experience with them personally. Again, the slipstream is always going to be very important, because it's the nature of Monza. It's a lot of straights, it's a lot about getting behind the car and slipstreaming out of them. It should be fun though, it should be an interesting race. I have less than 10 minutes to the server opening. Is there anyone you think you want to watch out for this time, just based off Zandvoort's results, or is it still very much a guessing game about who's going to be on top?
Well, I think the usual suspects will be on top. Seems that Thomas maybe hasn't got as much practice in as last time around, so hopefully he can find the pace, so it will be interesting to see otherwise.
I don't think Thomas had much practice last time either. I remember him very much being a last-minute call to enter the race. I think so.
Could be. I can't quite remember, to be honest, but yeah, we shall see. I think. A lot of fast drivers in GT3 seem to adapt very well to these cars.
I think it's more of a case.
That's if they can keep them on the road, which we're not always able to at Zandvoort.
Zandvoort had a big off by Thomas Jensen, who very known for being very quick and very consistent. He does a massive off, and he's saying he got contact from the rear, went spying into the gravel trap, hit the wall, and had to fight his way up the order. And that second race was when Aton Kovalainen, a surprising victory came out of him then. So of course, I have a bunch of notes, by the way, if you don't know. I have a bunch of notes, which basically say, oh, but they make no sense for this race because we haven't written any new ones up, because we don't know how people are going to react coming into this race. Then we're looking at people's practice sessions, we haven't got past results to really base off, apart from the last race, which is, I wouldn't say that conclusive. It was a first race in these cars, everyone's getting a bit used to them. So we don't really have much evidence to say people are stronger than not.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how people get along in these cars now that they've had a bit more experience in. Of course, nobody knew what to expect last time around, but we at least have some sort of expectations now.
I think the only thing I really definitely know is we may see a bit more variety of cars. From some people who picked some different vehicles, possibly running off 2 ladders, or whatever they are. Compared to the last time we had 1, and maybe we'll see a Chevrolet. We didn't see one last time. The most common car last time was the Volvo and the Citroens. Maybe we'll see some new cars there.
Yeah, I don't believe we didn't see a Chevrolet last time around. But I think there are a few people who like that car, so I think yeah, it will be interesting to see if any of them show up for the race.
Let's also remember we do have the live timing available.
Yeah, the live time will be up as soon as our practice session is live, which is about 4 minutes from now.
So, ladders. So again, it's obviously we have less to talk about. So what can we talk about here apart from it's Monza, and it's always. Last time we were very clean in the GT3s here, weren't they? It was fairly clean at the start. It was not until later on where we started seeing a bit of bish and bathing going on.
Oh. Yeah, there were definitely a few nasty collisions in the GT3 last time around, but seem to have kept it relatively clean through turn 1, which is the most tricky part of the track. But maybe the reverse grid this time around will change that. In race 2.
The reverse grid should be an interesting thing, because again, last time the order was mostly shuffled up just because of people's crashes and stuff, but this is just going to add another element, I think, to it. Some drivers might struggle a bit with it, because there are some drivers, which once they're in front, if they're behind someone, they struggle. If they're in front, they'd rather lead than follow. And we do have some of those sort of drivers. We saw them last time, and then as soon as they lose their position, they are out of the comfort zone. So the reverse grid may push those people into 8th or 7th or something if they went leading the race, and then they were a completely different style of race to deal with.
I see Mark Whitford is looking forward to it in the YouTube chat.
Forward to this quality race we got. That is incorrect. That's also incorrect. Didn't see anything there, people on stream. This stream is professionally readied up and was not botched together.
Not rushed at the last minute.
No, it was not like we forgot the race was happening. Well, we didn't actually forget that. That's wrong. We just real life sometimes gets in the way of things, and then you have to rush things to get things together. But don't worry, we're here now. You now have the enjoyment of our voices for the next hour or so, because of course there'll be 2 practice sessions, 1 practice session, 2 races, and a qualifying session. Not in that order though. That'd be a really awkward way of doing things. 2 races and then the qualifying. As you just wait for the countdown to reach the bang on of the hour. And then the password will be announced in the drivers. So it is open to the drivers, so we should see. Hopefully some drivers get on here fairly early on, maybe not. Now, we are using the full layout compared to. There is actually a shorter layout of Monza, if you didn't know. Kind of short. Turn off point is actually sort of after the pits and before the first corner you sort of turn off, but we're not using that layout. Some people do use it, some people don't. We decided to keep the full layout because it's a bit more interesting, to be fair. The short one's kind of a bit dull. It's sort of like reduces the track to like 3 corners.
And the password has now been distributed, and the live timing channel is also live. So if you're gonna keep a closer eye on practice and qualifying, you can tune into that.
Speaking of lifetime people keeping track of people, we have our first car on the server. It's Thomas Jensen, so he is racing. He's in the
And a
larder,
nice banana lada.
the banana larder. That is a very nice paint scheme.
Yeah, very tasteful livery.
It's very much him though. He always has a thing for picking the most obnoxious livery he can find. And there we go. He's picked one right here. So he just waits for him. He's in pits right now. Yeah, he should probably make his way out on circuit very shortly. Or he won't. He'll just sit here and wait for the clock to go down very slowly. There we go.
And there he goes. Mark Whitford also joined the server now.
Oh, there we go. No.
Thanks, Dendo.
Yep.
Both in the Volvo.
2 Volvos. Now, when you look at the lifetime, you will notice the that the classes of the 2016 and 17 cars. Don't worry, one of them is not faster than the other. They are actually the same spec and they have the same performance. Basically, it's just different liveries. Is the main point. So that's why there's 2. So don't worry the fact that it is you were racing 2017 and something 2016 car. As we Thomas Jensen enter the second chicane, they'll lock up there, and then it takes a trip across the gravel. Now these cars don't come with ABS, so they are a bit tricky in the brakes compared to a GT car which has ABS. Well, a GT3 car anyway. Heads out again for his second outlap. Yet to set a time yet, which is not surprising. So we'll wait for the other 2 to get ready as people slowly start rolling in. Now we can see the voice chat, which drivers are meant to be in for the drivers briefing. We can see that, so that's what gives us a rough indication of people who are joining the race. Speaking of cars on track now, Andrew is also now heading out in his Volvo, so it's going to make us 2 cars on track as Thomas heads through the Lesmos. Lesmos were an issue in the GT3 race for some drivers, weren't they, on the exit of the second Lesmo anyway. Do you think it's going to be so much of an issue in these cars, or do you think the handling characteristics will play in the favour of not having the same issue?
Well, these cars are generally more tricky to drive than the GT3s. Require a bit more precision in the steering input, especially. So, yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried it myself, but it will be interesting. Certainly, normally these cars are more tricky than GT3s, as now Robert Nygaard has joined the server.
Now, yes, he is. He's in the Lada as well. Something brings us to. He's in the 2017 livery, the white with the colours of the Russian Federation one. As Thomas Jensen heads down the start finish and starts his first timed lap. You head on board with him as he enters into the first chicane, this very notorious corner, especially in online lobbies. Be very careful on throttle, because these cars will understeer if you put how much power down, just because of the nature of the front wheel drive. You put too much power in, they will just understeer off and you enter into the gravel, so a lot more about throttle control on these cars compared to a GT car where you've got traction control, you have all these assists to keep you on track. Brakes just after the bridge into the second chicane. Rides over the curbs. bit into the gravel then. Now heads towards the first of the Lesmos. Very smooth so far. Heads into the second Lesmo now. Bit of curb. And heads down towards the Ascari chicane now. One of the first of the many back straights, as I like to call them here, because it's sort of two major straights on the track. There's three really. Breaks at the 100-meter board into the Ascari. Heads out.
Oh, someone's spun. Yeah, Tasdendo has spun on the. I think that was the entry to the second chicane.
Very unfortunate. He wants to get up to speed very quickly as Thomas Jensen enters into the Parabolica. Very long corner. It just keeps going and going and going until you finally see the exit of it and you head onto the back straight. See what sort of time that Thomas Jensen can set on his first practice run of this session, really. Puts himself for 152.9. As both Volvos now also head out on the track now. So yeah, as your 52s, just from briefly being in the Discord earlier, the chat of the drivers, most of them sort of getting around the high 150s, are sort of the fastest times you sort of saw. A lot of 51s, 52s from people, so interesting to see what people do as Thomas Jensen puts half a second improvement in Sector 1, so he's probably getting an actual proper pushing lap now to see where he can put his car on the... Well, it's not really anything, it's practice right now. Matchmaker's qualifying, it's not qualifying, it's practice.
Yeah, Robert Nygaard has now also started his first hot lap, and Tom Dentist has joined the server in the Citroen.
I believe he was in the Citroen last time, so... There's some drivers which seem to be in the same cars as last time, some people seem to have switched. I think Mark was in the Volvo last time. I think Robert was in the Citroen last time though, so...
Robert Nygaard sets a faster Sector 1 than Thomas Jensen. Jensen set a 32.5, Nygaard sets a 32.4.
I think Thomas Jensen aborted that lap, he's behind the behind Mark Whitford's car now, so I believe he went a bit wide out of Ascari and decided just to abort his lap as we hop onto Robert Nygaard's car as he enters towards the Ascari chicane.
Victor Berlin has also joined the server in the Citroen.
Yep, he's back in the Citroen again. I believe he was also racing that last race. One thing to bear in mind about this series so far is this series is an open series in terms of car, so you don't have to worry about... You can change car per race compared to the GT series. It's just how it is, this series, just because of a slight change around in the OVRC and how the series will work. So it's just to accommodate for that, so people have a bit of time to get used to the cars, rather than having to worry about picking a car for a couple of races.
So Robert Nygaard now approaches the finish line. He sets a 151.8.
I think it's a bit close to what times people are setting in their personal practices, so I think that's a bit close to what we're going to see. Maybe he can mix it at a faster time, maybe not. Mark Whitford sets faster Sector 1 now in his Volvo. Heads towards the Ascari chicanes again. At some point I'm going to sick and tired of saying the word Ascari.
Whitford was just 0.003 of a second faster than Jensen for Sector 1.
His Sector 2 time is slower though. It's a personal best, but not a global best.
Well, of course it's a personal best because he hasn't set a time yet.
That is true. He has not set a time yet on this session. So
Berlin and Dentist are also leaving the pit lane now.
Mark Whitford heads across the start-finish line. Let's see what time he can put his Volvo on this practice session. He puts it right between He's not far off though of Nygaard's time. So he's fairly close to Nygaard, but I don't think Nygaard's time is a fully representative time of what these cars can do around this track. So he's running a... Remember, we don't know what sort of runs people are running, if they're running practice runs or quali runs.
Right, we do not know any of the fuel loads. Unfortunately, that information is not available to us. Meanwhile, Stephen Higgins has joined in the Volvo, and Darling has is in the Honda.
Yep.
I think Higgins was in the Honda last race. He seems to have switched to the Volvo
Yeah, I
now.
believe he changed. He was not very happy with the Volvo. I think he flipped in a race too and killed his engine, so I don't think he's very happy about that car. So we've got a little gaggle of cars coming through the Lesmos right now. I believe it's Dendrew, Berlin, and I think that's Tom Dentis in the back of this little pack of cars. I mean, just hope we can see a lot in the race, because we saw a lot of this last time in Zandvoort. Is a lot of close racing between the guys, as they're all going the slipstream behind each other, heading towards the Ascari. So, oh, there you go, Dendrew's gone across the gravel. Fortunately, ruining his time probably, unfortunately. As Whitford is improving his sectors again. It's across the start.
Seems these guys are getting some racing practice in. Although Berlin runs wide and he's back into the pits.
We now have a low 51 set by Mark Whitford now. So it's getting a lot more close to the times I assumed that people would be reaching. But we only have 3 times set right now by 3 drivers. And it's very early days in the session, so we've got a bit of time to wait before we start seeing cars roll out.
Tom Dentist has also started his first hot lap, so we'll see if he can match up with Whitford and Jensen once again.
He adapted very well to these cars at Zandvoort. He was very quick there in these cars, so be just to see how well he can do again at this track.
He was very quick, but he didn't have an accident-free drive, especially in race 1 where he finished 6th. Finished 2nd in race 2.
Yep, after he basically kept trying to charge down Kovalainen, but just couldn't make the move work. So, as I think Thomas's lap has been cancelled because he's not setting any further sectors. Mark Whitford, on the other hand, is still setting a faster time. He's improved sector 1, failed to improve sector 2 though.
Yeah, his sector 1 is a 32.0, and I think the fastest we've seen so far was a 32.4. So that's actually, it seems that it was a 32.3 would have been the fastest sector 1 so far. So gaining a couple of tenths through there.
He don't believe he improved his time. No, he didn't. He's quite far off the pace that lap compared to his best. And I think Dendrew just actually changed cars. He is now in the Citroen. He was in the Volvo earlier, but now he's changed into the Citroen. So again, you can tell that this sort of race these sort of couple of races are a bit more about gaining experience in these cars rather than setting what exactly you want to run for a full-blown series.
Yeah, Watford has once again improved on the overall sector 1, which was also his own sector 1, and Jansen has improved on his personal sector 1.
While is a bit out of shape then.
Goes
into the gravel slightly.
Yeah, it goes a bit wide into the gravel slightly.
He heads towards the Ascari again. Or what lap is this? This is his 4th lap so far. Improves sector 2. Now comes the tricky Ascari chicane. Can he keep it together through here? Seems so, as that was very clean then. These cars do seem to ride curbs slightly better than GT cars. GT cars tend to like to lose control of the curbs. These cars seem to be very happy about them. Enters the Parabolica now towards the start-finish straight. With 44 minutes left in this session, I believe we just saw a time set by Tom Dentist. He sets his first time. He's 1 second off Mark Whitford's time. That's Mark Whitford.
Dentist is just coming through the last corner again now. He has improved so far on this lap. So let's see where he ends up.
Yep, as he heads towards the start-finish straight now. Mark Whit improves his time. Sure. Doesn't it improve?
Dentist lost some time through the last sector there and does not improve.
Jensen's improving his times in his car. Let's see if he can put himself any higher right now. Mark Whitford set out. He's now in the 50s now. The 150.861, and he's looking like to keep him pushing that gap further. So let's see. Can he get a low 150? I wonder. Is there enough pace in these cars to get there, or is this sort of what we expect?
I think that's about the times we've seen so far in the chat on the Discord of what they've been doing in the private practice so far. Anton Kuivalainen, he won one of the races last time around at Zandvoort, has now joined the server again in the Honda.
Yep. Using the Honda, I believe that's the same livery as well, so he's looking like he's maybe a lucky car for him. It was his first race in OVRC, unfortunately not in the prestigious GT series, unfortunately, but it's a win nevertheless, so he has that now.
Whitford is now coming onto the start-finish line. He was 3 tenths faster.
Everyone else, the Son's locked up into the first chicane. You can see a puff of smoke there. As
Tom Dentist coming after the start-finish line now. Let's see if he improves this time around. He does, but not by much.
I think Mark Whitford is really setting the pace right now. As Charlie Darling sets his first time. Well, he's
as Victor Berlin.
That's Victor. Sorry, I read the wrong person. Yeah, it's Victor Berlin. He's quite far off the pace. He was very, very close at Zandvoort. He was very good there, but it's the question if he can keep that form coming into this race. He had an unfortunate GT race here. He had an issue in the pit stops, which put him really far back. But let's see if he can redeem himself here then, as we get more times coming in. Now Charlie Darling definitely has set a time of a 152.332.
I suspect Whitford might be doing qualifying runs right now. Wouldn't expect him to be that far away from Jensen and Dentist.
I mean, Nygaard is doing right. Nygaard is the current second quickest, and he's a second off the pace. So it'll be interesting to see as Higgins crosses the line for his first time. What does he put himself? Puts himself into 6th right now with a 152.774.
Yeah, Higgins was very worried about his pace going in.
We need to probably get a bit more times coming through to really work out exactly where he fits into this. As we on Dendru's Citroen now, he's changed from the Volvo to the Citroen in this session already. So let's see if he can improve his form in this car. I believe that's Charlie Darling in front in the other Civic, and he locked up the brakes there and heads straight forward. And these cars, again, brakes are very difficult to get under control. If you get them wrong, you have a tendency to go into the barrier somewhat. Thomas Jensen's looked to improve his times. Can he get closer to Whitford's 150.6? He's 0.3 of a second up, down on Whitford's time, but it is an improvement for him personally. So it It's very wide at the edge of Ascari, which is not the first time I've seen him do that. He's been out there for a couple of times already, so... As we have the more people slowly joining the session now, we have Toka Spliff, who's in the Citroen. Getting one of these drivers which had a very disappointing GT race here, so we're interested to see if he can improve himself in this series.
Jan Sanders took second position. I think he improved by about 2 or 3 tenths on his personal lap.
Yeah, but it's still not that close to Whitford. 0.8 of a second off.
Yeah, I really suspect Whitford might be doing some lower fuel runs right now compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, but I wouldn't completely count everyone out yet, because Thomas Jensen's a very quick learner. Once he starts getting a car under control, he can quickly get some good laps in. So he's probably the most likely rival to him. But remember, this is WTCC cars, anything can happen at this point. There's no true pace setters we know right now in these cars, so anything can really happen at this point. So he enters the end of Sector 2. I believe he went wide somewhere. I believe this lap is now cancelled for him. Nygaard is looking to improve his times.
And Darling just went up into 4th position. Took that away from Tom Dentist. They're about the same times, but Darling just slightly faster.
Nygaard lost some time in Sector 2. He lost quite a bit. He's now 1 second off the pace, which is slower than what his personal best is, so... Maybe coming out the Lesmos, he's having a couple of issues as he enters a Parabolica right now.
Someone's left the server.
I believe that is Victor Berlin. As Robert Nygaard enters the pits.
Yeah.
I don't see a reason to enter the pits. There won't be a pit stop during this race. Cars are just... I believe it's not a really serious stop as he hits the wall. And there we go. Darling's looking to improve his time in the Honda. Still yet to see the Chevrolet though. We've got 4 different manufacturers right now on the server. No Chevrolet yet. Interesting to see if we eventually do see one. Victor Berlin's changed car now. He is now in the Volvo.
Higgins just improved this Sector 1.
So Charlie Darling heads across towards the start-finish line. Does he improve himself? He's P4 right now, 1.2 seconds off the pace. Can he put himself any further up the order? He improves his time, but doesn't move himself up. But he is closer now. 0.2 seconds closer. Not far off knocking Robert Nygaard's time out now. As you now have Dragos Bibe on now on the server with another Volvo. So, if you want to know the current car selection, it's 4 Volvos, 3 Citroens, 2 Hondas, and 2 Ladas. A tiny bit more varied than last time. Volvo still makes the car of choice, it seems, for people. Which is not half surprising, because it's a very popular car. People seem to like the way it drives. So... whatever people are comfortable in, I think, is the main point about cars. These cars all, of course, have balanced performance applied to them. They all should have... none of them is particularly faster than the other. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, and also have a slightly different driving characteristics which may suit certain drivers more than others. As Dendrew goes through a sky chicane with Kovalainen chasing up behind him at the rear. See if he can prove himself. He's in 8th right now with a quite far off the pace right now, but this time he's looking better though.
Yeah, I think he improved in the first 2 sectors before though, so let's see if he manages to carry that speed through sector 3.
Enters across the start-finish line right now. Let's see what he can put himself to. Into 7th with a 1:52.3, 1.8 seconds off the pace. Watford still got the fastest time. Got a personal best as the last lap he was out. The closest person to him is Thomas Jansen, who's nearly a second behind. So Whitford's looking very much like the pace setter in this race.
Yes, so far. I would have expected Jensen to be closer, though, to be fair. As I said before, we don't know the fuel loads right now, so I suspect maybe Whitford is on a lower fuel load, doing some qualifying practice while the rest are doing race practice. So
I believe Whitford's one of the drivers which already had a bit more practice anyway. He's been doing a bunch of private practice, so he may already have a couple of race experience and stuff. He's just more focusing on getting the ultimate time out. The other drivers have spent less time, so a bit more trying to get just generally used to the car, as Skyline does lose a bit of time into the second sector. So, exits the Parabolica now. Where can he put his Honda? He's currently the highest placed Honda in 4th position. But again, this is sort of practice, so nothing true matters here right now. No points are awarded for practice. It's all about just getting, again, practice in and learning how your vehicle handles certain things. Can you get any setup or tweak adjustments to make your car feel better at all? Victor Berlin saying his first time in the Volvo. It's not a very good time so far though. I don't know how much he is trying for this lap. Seems to be a very normal lap. Kind of 2.2 seconds off the pace in sector 2. So Victor Berlin crossed the line. Where did he put his car? E10. 3.3 seconds to pace. I don't think that's actually a true representation of his pace right now.
yeah, he should definitely be able to do better than that.
As Kovalion's got himself a very fast sector 1, and he be the first driver to get properly close to Whitford's time. And remember, he's a race winner in these cars, so he should be feeling pretty confident coming into this, but we don't know personally. I think his lap has been cancelled, unfortunately, of the abused track limits. There are some spots on the circuit which have a bit stricter track limits than others. We'll be a bit careful when using them. Across the line, he's way up the pace.
Higgins has just rejoined the server in the Honda, and Dandy Harriman is also joining in the Lada.
So we have 3 Ladas, 3 Hondas, and 3 Citroens, and 3 Volvos. It's a 3-way battle. Well, not really a 3-way battle. It's a 4-way battle, but with 3 cars each. Let's see which manufacturer is the superior one. It's not like it matters at all, but it should be a big, good bit of fun. So we will now head on a quick break. We will be back very shortly. In the meantime, you can witness some of the cars going around.
Wow.
Welcome back, everybody, to the OVRC WTCC rate at Monza circuit. We are over halfway through practice right now, with everyone right now on track. Saying that, one car does go into the pits, so we're going to see what people can set as times and stuff as we look at Dandy Hireman and his first laps in this car on this session. Let's see where he can put his. Well, his first timed lap at least, anyway. Let's see if we can put his larder in this race. Well, his practice session at least, anyway. Across the line, he puts himself. It's a 151.9. Right now, the pace setter is Mark Whitford with a 150.593, and unfortunately, no one's getting particularly close to it yet. Seems like very much he has the lockdown about how to get these cars handling correctly around this circuit. If you look at Jonas Biber, Songa is very wide in the background there in the Volvo. Don't know who that is. There's a couple of similar looking cars out. Be either Victor Berlin or, well, that's probably Victor Berlin then, or it's Mark Whitford. As long as the Volvos are all blue, so they're all very similar cars anyway. He once again goes wide into that corner there, trying to push the boundaries of that car, see if he can get it any quicker than it currently is. I believe that is now definitely Victor Berlin, and Mark Whitford enters the pits, so that's definitely Victor Berlin trying to get used to that Volvo. He was in the Citroen before, he's in the Volvo now. Let's see if he can keep us, if he can get any closer to that time that Mark Whitford set earlier. As drag us by across the line. Let's see what time he can set himself. Is unfortunate. It is an improvement for him personally, but still not getting close to that time yet. Kovalainen is now crossing the line now. He's P5 overall in the order. Let's see if he can move himself up at all. Puts himself. He doesn't improve his time by like 0.01 of a second. As this is then sets the time. Steve Higgins is setting, I believe, his first time. No, he's not. He is just starting his first lap now. He's in the Honda again. He was switching around cars a couple of times. Be interesting to see what car he eventually does decide to stick with. So locked up at the first chicane. I believe that is a Toka Spliff in the Citroen. Kovalainen's improving his times again. Kovalainen looks like he's got the first sector under control, but it doesn't look like he can get anywhere close in the other two sectors. Sector 1 in this track is a set of corners which people seem to be very easy to get good times in. We noticed in the GT race, people were routinely setting their best times in that area, but in other places were lacking somewhat. Enters into the Ascari chicane. Let's see if we can keep this momentum going. And it heads towards the Parabolica. Heads around it now. It's a very long corner, this again, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast. It's a one that just seems to keep going and going when you're driving, and eventually it exits out and spits you out in this very fast finish straight. What time can he set himself as he crosses the line? He puts himself closer, but still not really that close. Still over half a second difference. Mark Whitford right now looking as the current fastest driver on this track. Steve Higgins heads across the line now in his Honda. Let's see what time he can set himself as he crosses the line right about now. What time did he go? He puts himself 9th fastest with a 1:52.316. So he's got a couple of drivers improving their first sector. Kovalainen's once again improving his first sector. It's getting closer now in that first sector, but isn't enough to really push him over into that 150 territory, which no one's really broken into yet, apart from Mark, as apparently he decides to pull off there and give up in that lap. Victor Berlin's in the Volvo again. Can he set himself any faster? He was very strong at Zandvoort. This race, struggling it seems in Volvo. Quite on the pace he wanted to be. There's one Parabolica now. He puts himself in that Volvo. He's currently P12. He's right down the back of the grid in terms of people with set times. What time did he set himself across the line now? P12. He does improve his time, but he's still all the way in the back. Higgins has improved his first time. His first sector time is very good, but decided to abort it. But that was a very strong first sector by him. Daniel Highland comes across the line now. He's in P8. Let's see if he can put himself a bit close up the order. Unfortunately, he does not seem to improve. I believe that lap got cancelled. Because on the real time he set his last lap as a 0:00, so either did or my thing's bugging out. We got a couple of people now setting their first timed laps now. Timothy Haynes goes very wide out to Ascari. A spot that seems to be quite commonplace for some cars just to go wide, and he goes up on his lap. Have a look at Hakkinen. I don't know what Hakkinen was last time. I think it was sort of towards the back midfield of the pack. As one of the Volvo smashes into the wall there. Onto that is 62. I believe that is Victor Berlin.
It is. Hi, by the way.
Hello, welcome back. With under 20 minutes left of the session to go. Berlin doesn't seem like him a good day right now in that Volvo. Quite far off the pace. Wiggling all over the grass right now. So Harriman's improved his middle sector in the Alada. Got 14 cars right now in this session. With the possibility of a few more maybe arriving very short. Remember, if you are interested in joining these races, there is a link in the description of this live broadcast to join into the league races if you ever feel like so desire. Minutes left in this. Charlie Darling's improved his first sector. There's still not really that close yet to Mark Whitford's time.
Yeah, it seems Berlin has left the server again, by the way.
He's probably changing car again.
Maybe changing car.
That's the question. Will he go back to the Citroen? Yes, he has. So, he is now back in his Citroen again as we look at Toka Spliff across the line now. His Citroen. He puts his car as he crossed the line. Does he improve his time? I don't believe that last lap counted. So. Steve Higgins. Oh, he's in the barrier. Very quick, Sector 1. Sector 1 seems to be one of the sector, similar story to the GT race. That one seems to be the place where people can get close, but the rest of the sectors is just no one really getting that close, it seems, especially into the Lesmo.
Yeah, people were also improving constantly throughout practice and qualifying for Sector 1, but then they struggled through the last sector.
Another running theme between circuits, because last time it was a Zandvoort. If you remember, Sector 3 was the one proving all the trouble. People could just not get close in that sector at all, and it seems maybe in this case it's Sector 1 where everyone can get good times in, but nowhere else can anyone really improve much. First Andy Hyman head through this Sky chicane. I believe he might have bought his lap judging by that wiggling. He's put himself into P3 now. He's been oh, and there we go. Decides that this lap is no longer worth keeping going and decides to just bin into the barrier. He's away in P3 right now, so he is not the highest Lada. He's second highest because Tom Tenson is the current second fastest car on the circuit.
Not far off though.
Not far off, no. No, he's
Anton Quiverlainen is not far off either.
right. Top 5, between second and fifth is very close right now, it seems, but it's just there's a pack there, and then it's all. But Mark Whitford's right now is just in a class of his own with that time right now. He is just so far. He's so far in front right now. It's just gonna be a struggle to see if anyone can get close to him. Right. So again, this is practice. We don't know what happened in qualifying. Anything can happen in qualifying, as you find out in earlier other series and in other races. In the cases where some drivers have just been in practice, sort of mind your own business, and then qualifying just bang, set up a really fast lap up and set themselves into the front row. So something like that could happen today. As Bibe is also now heading across, and the Volvos have sort of got disappeared now. There's 4 of them earlier, now there's 2 of them. As the Citroen seems to be the dominant car, with 6 of them right now on track. Still no Chevrolet. Apparently no one really wants to drive that. He's right.
It is interesting that we're seeing every car on track except the Chevrolet.
I was thinking it's last time. I mean, we saw one Lada out, but even with this time, it seems that the Chevrolet is just not the car people want to be in.
Sebastian Brunier has joined in the Volvo.
That puts him up. Now another Volvo, so now it's 3 Volvos. As Bibe crossed the line just about a couple seconds ago, did he improve his time? No, he hasn't. Haynes is looking to improve his time. He's right now in P13 in this practice session. Can he improve his time at all? It's very likely because his time is not that quick. But he's looking a lot quicker now. Last couple, well, the last just 2 sectors, he's 1.3 seconds off the pace, and that's a lot higher than his current 5 seconds off the pace. Where he put himself? He puts himself 152.3, which is, unfortunately for him, still at the back of the pack. So that didn't count. I don't believe that last lap counted. No.
Yeah, I didn't see his time change on the standings, so I don't think that counted.
Really unfortunate because it's looking really good for him. Possibly put himself to P sort of 11, 10ish, but not to be, it seems. Higgins crosses the line. He puts himself up into P6, so he's having a good run, especially after the last race where he had an awful race, especially in race 2 where he actually carded his DNF just due to damage, and now he's looking into P6 right now in this race. So just show
yeah,
you.
he was also doubting his own pace at this track, but he seems to have found it now. Let's hope he can repeat that.
Yeah, it looks like he's managed to find out what's wrong, and maybe there's some people, just different days, different tracks. So some tracks will suit you better than others. As he enters very hot into the second chicane there, he sort of had a bit of tyre squeal as he locked up. He improves the sector 1 time. I still find quite interesting he picked the Honda. He was not very happy with the Honda. He was like, I want to change car. He was discussing about changing car. But now he's right now he's P6 in the Honda, so interesting to see where he can put himself up in the end of this as he heads towards the Ascari chicane and the end of sector 2.
Tom Dentis just put himself in second, 6/10 off Whitford.
So still not quite there, but he's broken up. He's broken up the front row now, so he's in the front row position. Has some action movement around the bottom of the field as well. Other people improved their times. Timothy Haynes improved his time now. He's into P10, which is the sort of position I was predicting him to be last time. Looks like he managed to make this lap all the way through and put himself into that position. Higgins looks across the line now. Where does he put himself? Puts himself up. He doesn't improve in his position, and but he does improve his time. That's the wrong person I'm looking at there. No, he doesn't improve his time. Andrew is looking to
Doug
improve.
Spliff going through the last corner now. He did improve his sector 2, so let's see where he ends up. He can probably do better than 11th place.
I now puts himself into P9. One beam. So, I mean, we need to. So, if people don't know what's going on with Toka Spliff is, before he took a long break off, he was one of those drivers which would always be behind the top lot. He was like the top of the midfield. Generally, he's always that driver which would, if they made a mistake or crashed or something, he'd be the driver to make up those places. But I think he's just out of practice. Because he was...
Yeah, could be.
He was very keen on these cars coming into this. He was sort of like, I enjoy touring cars, but he doesn't seem to be quite where people expect him. So maybe just need a bit more time behind the wheel, get a bit more practice in. But it's good to see him back though, along with Charlie and Dandy. Those three drivers are very old OVRC drivers. Have been around since the start of this league and the sort of club as such. So they are been around a while, and it's been nice to see them back on track.
Speaking of Dandy, by the way, he's improved by 2 cents so far. He's only 2 cents off so far in sector 2. He's going up to the finish line now. Does not improve, it seems. Or did
No, it does improve. He puts himself to
did.
P2, and it was the second car into the 150s now. Still 0.3 off Mark Whitford, but he's now the second car to go into that thing with less than 10 minutes left in the session. So it looks like maybe some people are putting the quali runs in, maybe he's a bit more used to the car. He's been slightly worried about his tyre life, but I think that's more just not being used to the car.
Oh, Charlie Darling just put himself into P4. It's an old British top 4 right now.
Yep, as Thomas Jensen doesn't seem to be looking like he is going to be challenging. There's Toga Spliff again. Does he improve? He stays P9. Sebastian Bruno is yet to set a time, and so is Victor Berlin. But this is practice, so I won't worry too much about. Bruno crossed the line now for his first timed lap. Don't believe that counted, unfortunately. I didn't. So, speaking of Thomas Jensen, he's on the hot lap now. He's improved to sector 1. Can he get closer? Can he get into the 150s? Can he break up this current top 2 front row British lockout as he goes very wide out the first Lesmo? Tries to use the gravel, hoping maybe the gravel can either lighten his tyres. And he reports that. But first, a global time improvement. Kovalainen improves his first sector is the global fastest sector now. Can he keep this going now into the rest of the sectors though? It's been a while since I've seen the words fastest in global sectors on my overlay. As he heads towards the Ascari chicane, can he keep this momentum going? Drops off a bit. He's now half a second slower in the second sector, but can he make a
lot of smoke there? It's Darling stopped at the side of the track in the gravel.
A lot of smoke coming towards the Parabolica as well.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. Is there gravel there? Oh, yeah, there's gravel.
Well, Darling just was just in the gravel, so there must be.
Line across the line now. Can he keep his? Can he regain that time he's lost? Unlikely. Let's see what he can do. Across the line now. Does he improve? Doesn't count like that, unfortunately. Bit annoying because it was the first time we saw a global fastest sector, and then fortunately he just can't keep it going. So it's been a very difficult session since some people getting used to these cars, and it just seems like Whitford's has just got it under control. He knows how to get that car out, but we're still qualifying to go. We never know. We've got some drivers which are very much qualifying drivers as such. We've got Tom Dentist, Thomas Jensen, two very strong qualifiers indeed. They sort of tend to go to qualifying just miraculously get very close to the top. Kovalainen improved his first sector again, and he's sort of the only one that's sort of putting times out right now. A lot of people are on the pits, a lot of people are not setting new times as such, they're sort of just waiting around.
Yeah, of course, only 4 minutes left in the session right now, so we're not expecting much until we go to qualifying.
But Kovalainen's time's just been taken off him now. So, it's looking very much like the order in practice will be Mark Whitford, followed by Hyman, Dentist, Darling, Jensen, Kovalainen, Higgins, Nygaard, Spliff, and Dendrew round off your top 10 drivers right now in the session. There's 15 drivers overall. Only Joe not to set time is Victor Berlin. Doesn't seem to be able to get any sort of rhythm up together this round. He sort of struggled at Monza anyway in GT, so maybe he's preferred having a bit more corners in a track. May sound a bit odd. You think it's sort of a simpler circuit would be easier, but you get something to get a bit of drivers which are more comfortable when running with more corners where they can use a bit more of their ability into that sector. But we'll find out.
Dragos Pipe has improved this sector 1. Let's see if he can get himself out of B13. Oh, I think his lap's been invalidated.
I think his lap's been invalidated for, but Dendrew has improved to sector 1. But I think sector 1's a bit misleading right now. Sort of a sector where everyone seems to be able to improve, but doesn't need to improve anywhere else. So Thomas Johnson's move up. So he did. He moves himself up into P3, which ruined. That's the double front, the first 2-row lockout by UK drivers. Now has a Dutchman in the way. He's in a British sandwich there, as he got 2 British drivers either side of him. Not like the nationality matters at all, really, because in the end of the day, everyone's a community. So, Dendrew heads to the Parabolica. We've got a couple of improvement sectors in the last 2 minutes or so, got Hyman, Jensen, and Spliff all improving personal sectors now. As Dendrew crosses the line, where does he put his Citroen? Moves up quite a bit. He moves a lot.
6, not bad.
Not bad. He breaks up the 2 Hondas. Hyman's now riding the slipstream of Thomas Jensen, so the 2 larders right together. Don't know if they're working as a team or not, but it'll be interesting to see. Very wide for a Scar. He throws a bit too much speed, I think, and then probably ruined his lap, unfortunately.
Häkkinen has also improved sector 1. He's in last place right now. At least outside of Victor Berlin, who has not set a lap. So let's see where he ends up.
So, Jensen crosses the line now. Where can he put himself? Doesn't improve his position. Does not improve his time. Nygaard, the only person right now, which is, and I believe he's dropped off because he's just been passed by Häkkinen. So I think that pretty much rounds off our. Yeah, it pretty much seems to round off our top positions in this practice session. I don't think Nygaard's improving his time now. He heads to the barrier. As you can see, the glorious damage model taking its full effect. I believe this is the end of the session, as everyone's sort of just doing their end of session warm downs. That's what you could call them, maybe. Very much like Mark Whitford, though, is setting of a pace right now in this race. With his 150.593. Can anyone match that in qualifying? Standard race
We will find out
as
after
the
the race brief.
as the drive briefing, which will start to happen very shortly. We'll hop in there very quickly, and we'll be right back to you. That's done.
Alright, time for the driver's briefing. Welcome to Monza again, if you drove in the GT3 series. I think in general the driving standards were very good in Monza. A few accidents, but mostly caused just by accidental spins and then crashing into each other. That stuff happens, and it might happen a bit more in these cars. Body rubbing is part of the class. I think just as last time, be careful in the braking in turn 1. If you're in the slipstream, your brakes are quite a bit worse. But I think in these the brakes are actually a bit less sensitive than in GT3s, except that you might lock the rears and lose the back end. You may have done that in the last touring car race. I think there's not many other points, because you're a front-wheel drive. It's a bit safer on the power in corners like Ascari. The danger is mainly in the braking. So I think the main point is just try to avoid big accidents. Body rubbing is allowed. Try to keep it clean. Anyone else have any questions? Additions?
Well, it's Monza, so the usual turn 1 antics. If we
Yeah,
got
it's
all,
body rubbing, not barging.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say turn 1, just brake a little bit earlier in the first lap, just so that we don't have a big massive pile up.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
make
so you
sure
get a chance to get away.
No.
Yeah, just make sure you don't get on the limit of the brakes and spin on the brakes into the whole pack of cars. We don't want to see that.
Yeah,
Or
rear
put
spin.
people on
Watch out
stream.
for the rear spin.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, very good point. So race 2 is going to be a bit more interesting. There will be a lot of faster cars around you. Or if you're the faster car, there will be slower cars in front of you. So just keep that in mind for the second race. Keep it clean. Anything else?
Nope.
So we have a late joiner. And I think we are clear to start qualifying. Good luck.
That was the words from Thomas Jensen, as normal, who was a race admin, as well as a few others with a bit of advice, as Mark Whitford is once again first on position of track, and once again we see the flurry of cars behind him.
Everyone's very impatient to get out again, as usual.
Yep, everyone seems, again, it's a thing we always criticise and wonder why people do, because it's sort of, from us, it makes no sense to all rush out once. You're not going to have clear air, you're going to have a bunch of cars in front of you.
Yeah, although maybe trying to get some slipstream at this track, though I'm not sure that's really going to work, because you don't know how fast the person in front of you is going to be, so they might just hold you up.
Yeah, that's always the issue of it. Is like there's two sides of it. Yes, you get the slipstream, but yeah, you got to make the overtake happen, and you don't know what they're gonna do. What the other driver may just decide to not give you the slipstreams, pull out the way, and you ruined your lap anyway. It's just, I don't think it's a particularly good idea to do it. When you can see behind, warming the tyres up. Mark's not deciding not to do such a thing. He's deciding to go for the old strategy of just trying to get a quick lap out and get these laps underway. As he goes across the line with 20 minutes left in the session. Let's see what sort of times he can. So,
course, remember, if you want to keep a closer eye in qualifying, we have our live timing stream. So we recommend opening that up in another tab.
Mark Whitford sets his first. Let's see what Mark Whitford can do on his first timed lap. Enters into the first chicane. As you can tell, these cars have a sequential gearbox. If you look inside, compared to a GT which has 30 panels behind the wheel, this one, of course, it's up to the driver if they want to simulate having one. I know some drivers can do it if they feel like it, if they have the right hardware.
The fastest Sector 1 so far is by Dandy Harman with 32.0. We also have a newcomer just joining the qualifying session late. It's Tanner Selfie in the Lada.
Be interesting to see where he can put himself up in this race as Mark Whitford breaks into the parabolic now. See how much wheel input he's putting in. He's got to be trying to keep it smooth, but also trying to get the car around.
Yeah, Whitford has the fastest Sector 2 so far with 36.5. Meanwhile, Hougman got a 36.9, so
there we go.
seems that Whitford is slightly ahead.
But that's not his fastest lap of the session, though.
Indeed, he is slightly ahead. Very slightly.
We're going to see times.
Although, that's we know from practice that he is capable of more than that.
So it's going to be kind of a rush now of times coming in, and some people start setting their times as Kovalainen sets the fastest Sector 1 now. I believe Sebastian Bruni had a faster Sector 1 than Dandy. Just saw it there, but unfortunately he didn't improve anywhere else, so didn't mean much. But I mean, he got it, and he's all the way in P3 right now, which is a lot higher up than he set in his practice session. Kovalainen heads towards the end of Sector 2. I mean, it's again more representation of people's true pace compared to practice earlier, because obviously practice is a case of people running different strategies, different sort of sessions about what they want to do. In this case, it's a bit more about one goal, which is to get the highest position that you want in this session. He enters the parabolic now. Let's see where he can put his Honda up. He had a very good race at Zandvoort, remember? But can he mirror the same result here? Crossing the line very shortly. What does he set himself? He puts himself up into P6. Don't believe he improved his time. Charlie Darlington looks to set his first time now in his Volvo. He was up in the top 5, wasn't he, in practice? So let's see if he can mirror that result in again. So he crossed the line now. What time does he set? Puts himself P4 right now with half a second off the pace, but I said it's about a second off the pace when you consider the fact that Mark Whitford has set a faster time in practice. Thomas Jensen, unfortunately, his line does not count, and there we go. Mark Whitford sets a faster Sector 1 time, so it looks like he's going to try and see where he can get to in this race. I remember you qualified second in the Zandvoort race, just snatching it out of Thomas Jensen in the final second. So, unfortunately, he didn't actually win any of the races. He was leading a lot of the second race, the first race I mean, but didn't manage to capitalise that into a win. As he enters into the Ascari chicane now, does not improve his Sector 2 time, surprisingly. enters the Parabolica now. Can he keep his stream going of being the quickest person right now at this track, in this car, in this session?
Quiverlinen just took P6.
Across the line now. Does he improve? He improves his last sector, but still not in the 50s yet. Still very low 51s.
Meanwhile, Higgins sets a new global fastest sector 1.
By quite a bit actually, 0.2 of a second, so he's looking a lot more confident than he was at Zandvoort. He's looking like he's finally understood this car, and I think from what he said in the chat, his time in the Volvo has made him understand the cars a bit more, and it's helping him out in the Honda. So he's saying that the Volvo is an easier car to drive from personally, but he feels the Honda is quicker around here. So maybe that's a slight advantage that the Honda does have, or maybe it's just personally when he gets behind the wheel he feels quicker, because obviously the Volvo is not slow here. It's currently P1 and 3 right now in the current qualifying session. So what time does he cross? He heads towards the start-finish line now. Set himself quite well up into practice. He puts himself into P4 with 0.3 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
Things considered.
A middle 51. I mean, we still yet to see Mark Whitford set as fast as Kovalainen now. Heads across into the Parabolica now. Can he set himself up for better time? He's really far back right now. He's in P8, 1 second off the pace. So he needs to want to get a bit up closer to the top end of the field, I believe. Especially want to mimic his result from Zandvoort as he crosses the line, puts himself to P6, half a second off the pace. Mark Whitford crossed the line now. Where does he put himself? Still not. He puts
50.8.
Yeah, he does put him in the 50s now. So that's the first 50s now of the session.
So I think he did a 50.6 in practice.
50.5.
Okay, so not quite on his practice pace yet.
Well, 12 minutes to go in the session as Thomas Jensen sets the fastest sector 1 time. Well, I don't actually know who's setting fastest sector 1 because people keep setting fastest sector 1 times. It's a bit tracking if you're. I mean, obviously we have the live time in which we can track on, but I'm trying to keep track of what's going on track right now. So, Thomas Jensen fast sector 1 time as he sets his first timed lap. I didn't realise that he's not set a single time yet. Let's see where he can put himself in the session. Enters the Ascara chicane, and I believe he invalidated his lap. So he's got to wait another lap before he gets at his fastest. Charlie Darling currently improving his 2 sectors. Quite a diverse field now, I think, compared to the first race. I think that's one thing I've noticed, is the diverseness of the field has increased slightly. Slightly less Volvos, still quite a lot of Citroens, but a couple more Hondas and a couple more Lards. Still no Chevrolet. We're very disappointed about that. As Charlie Darling heads towards the start-finish straight. Can he keep this going? Find out as he crosses the line now. Puts himself into P3. 0.4 the pace, so he's got himself a very good time now. As Higgins once again improved sector 1. Higgins, I believe, has got the fast sector 1 time out of everyone so far. I don't think anyone's actually close to his sector 1 time.
Yes, he did a sector 1 of 32.0.
He's right now.
No.
There's a couple improvements behind as of cars starting time. Berlin's still right at the bottom with a 53.4, so he's still not quite up there where he should be. Really, I think he'd be around the midfield, but obviously not. As Stephen Higgins puts his fast sector 2 time in. Can't tell who the car behind us is. It could be either Bibe or Whitford, but he is looking like he is actually meaning business here. He heads.
Yeah, it is Whitford behind him, although he's not on a fast lap right now, so
he's backing off now.
Understandably slowing down.
So as Higgins heads to Parabolica, can he keep this going? This is if it is on pole, this is what one standout performance by him to keep this going. From what a situation before where he was struggling, worried about his result, he's looking like what time is he going to set as he crosses the line. Loses it on the Parabolica, I believe, or Ascari or something like that. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah,
Still a really good lap
was,
by him, but
indeed. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but it does show that he has
he has the
he
pace.
has a lot of potential.
He has a potential in this car, and I don't think he's filled his confidence in the GT3s. Some drivers are touring car drivers, and he seems like he's one of those sort of types. Sebastian Brunier.
Yes, Sebastian Bruni now got pretty quick lap so far.
Sebastian also seems to be doing a lot better than he's been doing in GT series. His GT series has been quite interesting because he's sort of going to the Corvette to get away from the McLaren, but doesn't seem to be getting quite the same results as he was getting in the McLaren as he
He puts himself into P3.
Yeah, so we've got quite a diverse two front rows now with. If we replaced one of the cars, no, when we've got 3 different manufacturers.
Whitford's at the fastest 2.0.
So it looks like he's finally managed to beat Higgins' best time in Sector 1. Took some time, but he seems like he might be able to finally get close to what he set in practice. He sets a faster Sector 2.
Charlie Darling also just did the 32.0 in Sector 1. So he's getting very close through there.
Smart Whitford pulls on the back of Victor Berlin. Hopefully it doesn't impede him too much, as Berlin probably should have pulled off the line, but hopefully it doesn't affect too much as Nygaard moves himself up into P8. Spliff is doing very well for himself, P7. Just in the top 8 right now. So, Whitford, can he get himself close to his time he set in practice? He crossed the line now, he's still off it. He's still not there yet. I think that got invalidated anyway, but he's still not there. Charlie Darling's looking to improve his times right now. The cross as Tom Jensen just slots himself into P2 just then. Darling doesn't look like he managed to get any closer, and again invalidated his lap. So we're getting a couple of invalidated laps. People start to push it a bit more, I think. Didn't see many early on in practice, but as people try
I don't think his lap was invalidated. It's just it did not improve in the last sector.
Again, different. The
Tim Haynes setting a global fastest sector 1, although I'm not sure that's correct because we had a 32.0 already and did a 32.2.
Looks like it's some interesting results then as he crossed the line. Has he set a time that he had? So 52.0. Right now, all the way down in P11 right now, so he's looking to possibly improve his time right now. He keeps himself in that position. Oh, Darling's improved his Sector 1. 32.1. I don't think it is the fastest time overall, but it might be the fastest, like, perhaps global time, which is a complete lap or so. That might be why it's doing it. There are a lot of invalidated laps going on.
Meanwhile, Dragon's Vibe is reporting technical issues with his throttle. It's blipping when it's supposed to be full throttle, so that's not going to help in a straight line.
He's on track though, so it might be either sorted or he's going to plow through it. He's all the way down P12 right now. Darling across the line, doesn't look like he doesn't improve again. Higgins is once again back on track again, 32.0 Sector 1. So he heads towards Sector 2 now. Can he keep it going again? Sector 2 is also quickest. So now it's this final sector, which he doesn't seem to be having the best day with, but let's see if he can get going here. As he exits Ascari.
Seems to be very good through Sector 1 though.
Sector 1.
2.0, that's really quick.
Tom Dentis, I believe, slips up into P6. Or
Oh yeah, looking at the timing right now, it seems that Tom Dentist has done. It's reporting identical times, so I'm not sure that's correct. Sector 1 and 2, so maybe a timing glitch there.
Puts him there as a P3,
Wow.
second row, loses a bit of time out into the last sector, but what a great lap by him. He's not normally up this high up the grid, but you can feel happy about that. What a stellar lap by him so far. Sebastian Brunier, I don't believe it's the fast lap, I think it's his fast sector 1, and yeah. But that was one cracking lap by him, and he must be feeling very confident now coming into this.
And Tom Dentist is still all the way down in P7 right now, but he just improved his sector 1, not far off from Whitford. Also improved sector 2, 1/10 off.
Still only one person in the 50s, so time's not as going as quick as practiced, it seems. People are...
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is.
Whitford was definitely
Maybe
quick.
saving the best for the last 3 minutes of the session.
That's a bit risky strategy. I probably want, if it personally, I'm trying to get my best lap out done now and have a bit of breathing room. Don't have to worry about having to go out again.
Not sure why you do that. But,
anyway, as Tom Test crosses the line, he can improve himself. He puts him up into P5.
It's an improvement, but it's not where we'd normally expect him to be. Oh, he spins it into the first chicane now. And puts it into the wall on purpose.
But Nygaard...
It's like he's not going to get another lap in.
Nygaard's looking to improve
just
his time.
under 3 minutes in the session now.
I don't think there's enough time for you to get a lap out as Nygaard crosses the line.
Whitford also improving his lap again. Coming through the last corner now.
Can he keep his momentum going? He's still in pole position. He crossed the line. Can he keep going? He puts it. He improves it, but I wouldn't say he's going. He's not near his practice time. He's still up 2/10 off it. So I don't know what's going on with him. If he just managed to bang it, but thinking about it, he did a couple of very fast laps around the 50s. So it's not like
Higgins does another fastest sector 1.
Looks like he wants to keep that as king sector 1. It seems as he exits both Lesmos. Hyman puts himself up into P2. Fortunately, putting Higgins into P4. Let's see if he can move himself back up to P3 again. Onto that not so podium spot.
Higgins does not improve sector 2 though.
No. But let's see if he can keep it going.
Unless he can pull something off in the last sector, it will be P4 for him.
Yep. I think if he's
P4... Quiverlinen has set the fastest sector 1. 32.008, that's the fastest we've seen so far, faster than Higgins.
Quiverline's all the way down in P11, so he's looking to get himself a bit further up as Higgins pulls into the pits. I believe he's not happy with that lap. It's still a stellar qualifying performance by him so far, as Quiverline sets a personal fastest, but not an overall fastest sector 2.
Still, he should be able to get out of P11 if he doesn't make any major mistakes.
A couple of cars ahead of him, but they're way too far out to really affect his time at all. As he enters the Parabolica now, let's see if he can keep this going. Exiting now, doesn't use much of the curb, but probably doesn't need to as he heads towards the start, finish straight. And he puts himself into P4. So he's out of his zone. Timothy Haynes, not enough time I don't think to finish the lap as you've got a couple seconds left in the session. And there we go. So, Mark Whitford sets pole with Danny Hyman alongside him. Jameson, Kovalainen, Higgins, Dentist, Nygaard, Brunier, Darling, and Denju. What a performance, though, by Higgins, though. I think it's one of his best ever results in qualifying he's had, so hopefully he can transfer it into the race. As we get ready to... So, as we have the quick get ready up time. But right now, Whitford's is dominant right now, I believe. Unless he makes a mistake, I don't think he's got much to worry about. So as we prepare to get ready, as we are off now for the first race of the OVRC WTCC race at Monza, Mark Whitford looks to cover off Hyman's approach. And then he moves back towards his regular racing line. Let's see if everyone can get cleanly around the first chicane.
Charlie Darling has dropped all the way down to P14.
Yep, and Higgins also has dropped down, unfortunately. He's now on P10, so not the best start for him. Fortunately, as Whitford looks like he's just going to slowly try and get away from everyone as much as he can. He gets a very clean exit out of the first chicane, so it looks like he might be getting away now. Going through the first set of Lesmos. And you can see, I think Whitford is slowly getting a gap. It's nearly a second gap already, so you can keep this going as he heads towards the Ascari chicane. He's pretty sure he's out of the slipstream range now, so he's a fairly good chance of keeping this out going. The Ascari chicane is a very difficult spot, and many people can see there's a couple of side-by-side action going off behind. As I believe a real pack of cars all the way back here going just through Ascari right now, with Higgins leading that pack, and he can't get himself back up. And that's quite a big pack back there.
Yeah, they were getting very close to contact at some points, but they've managed to keep it clean so far.
So as Mark Whitford heads across the start-finish line, let's see as we cross the line for the first lap, being 2 minutes at that. We're going to see the rest of the order. People start setting their first times. Couple of gaggle of cars as they go 3 wide into the first chicane. Bit of contact there as Hakkinen goes off the track, loses out there, and does Nigel Mesmet attack back? No, he doesn't. Sebastian Brunier stays in front as I think some people start tumbling down the orders with a bit of contact there. Or not, because Hakken's right back. He seems to have gone straight over the chicane.
Yeah, it seems Dracos Vibe had some connection issues. He was flickering on my screen and he's lost a lot of time.
Yeah, says he's already 13 seconds behind. Thing is, Hakken looking to make another move onto Nygaard. So it looks like into the first Lasmo decides against it. The slots in behind now. As Charlie has a very... Nygaard has a very deep line there. As Tom Dentist looks to make a move up onto Kovalainen into Ascari. The side-by-side. Does he make the move? No, he doesn't. He decides to start him behind, but...
Someone spun it, Robert Nygaard.
I see.
He was in P7, he's moving all the way down now.
Yeah, he's just going through Ascari now.
P15.
That's unfortunate for him, as we have a bit more as Hakkinen and Sebastian go side by side now.
He's down up the edge side of Jensen.
As Hakkenen's lost it. Hakkenen's lost it right down the middle of the Parabolica. This is not the best place. It's avoiding action. People trying to get out the way. I think some people did lose some positions from that, but that's a bit unfortunate for him as They head towards then the start finish straight for the third time, I believe. As everyone goes very wide there. Looking to try and make a move up, but doesn't look like he can do it. As Victor's managed to move up into P10. So he's doing a good race. Charlie Darling's moved all the way down to P11, unfortunately. Stephen Higgins is in P9. And Dragos Bibe has retired to the pits.
Yeah, he is reporting that his game bugged out. After the first lap, his car went into cinematic mode, like it normally does at the end of the session, and yeah, he just lost control over the game. So that is why he retired.
Unfortunate there, as we look on to Thomas Jensen trying to make his position up on Daniel Hireman, but Mark Whitford just seems to be escaping these lot. He's managed to just make a little breakaway, it seems. He seems to just have this all under control. Further back in the field. Oh, there's a big contact! There's been contact with Timothy Haynes, I believe. And Timothy Haynes is in the gravel at the entry of the scar. I don't know who hit him with him. He's taking a very long time to get out of that. Anyone else he hit? It might have been Sebastian Bunia.
Sebastian Bunia lost a lot of time there, so I think it was him.
Yeah. Sebastian's going to be really annoyed at that. He's going to try and make his way back up the field as Robert Nygaard's are very wide.
Side by side with Kivalainen.
Yes.
Turn 1 now.
Oh, might be going
right. Goes a bit sideways. Very sideways.
Yeah, been losing a bunch of time. It's not. It's unlike him to make a mistake like that, but maybe he can make his time up as Jensen closing the back of Hireman now. As we're looking back at each other and coming to the second chicane. There's been a bit of contact there as the pack is slowly spread out. Jensen's very keen to look at the back, and I believe Robert Nygaard's managed to make a push, or I think one of the people made a mistake of the way back here into P13. As Dendrew's looking at the back of Berlin's cars, one person enters a bit of gravel, but I don't think they lost control. It's only a bit of gravel as they go side by side. A bit of contact there. A bit more contact between these two. Between the two Citroens. So they go through the Scary chicane now. Can anyone get close enough? As he got the slipstream, he goes to the outside of Victor Berlin, down towards the Parabolica. I believe he might have just made the move there. Yes, he has. Great move by Dendrew to get in front, but Victor Berlin looks like he's coming back onto him.
Jensen just took second position from Harwin again on the main straight. It seems they are sticking very close together so far. Both of them in the Lada.
Right. So as Berlin goes for a very late lunge into the first chicane, there a bit of contact. They get the same exit. Berlin looks like he might be able to just stick in front for now. But still very close. He's got the inside line, but he's got the second chicane to deal with, where he'll have the outside line coming into it. Dendrew, I think, just managed to get in front of him. Gets the inside line, a bit more body contact there, but nothing too major as Dendrew managed to make the position up. Moving elsewhere in the field, we've got these two still fighting, Hyman and Thomas Jensen.
Behind them, Tom Dantas is also trying to get onto the back of Kuvalainen.
Yep. Hyman's very much looking keen to make a position up if he can. Gets more slipstream behind him as they go down the start-finish straight. Can he get the braking done? Yep, he's managed to get in front of Thomas Jensen, so Hyman makes the position up. The more these two fight, the longer Mark Whitford can get away. As we're going to soon enter the 10-minute mark of this race. Jensen right up behind Hyman again. Looks to stick behind for now. Don't see any read to make a maneuver on these two. Slots him behind again. Looks for it, but decides to just stick behind instead. So he's waiting for a more suitable opportunity to overtake. Looks out again, goes back in. Down the slipstream all the way down to the Scary chicane. They're side by side. And he slots him behind. Again. Doesn't look like he just has quite enough speed to keep going. Now does he have the better exit now coming out here? He's a bit too far away, I think. Will still get the effect of the slipstream, but won't be able to get closer, I don't think. Saying that, he does actually close the gap. It's closer again, pulls out to the outside.
Dante's also getting into the slipstream of Kovalainen now. Seems to be gaining, but I'm not sure if it's enough to make a move into turn 1, although maybe he will. He goes up the inside, side by side into turn 1.
No, I think Tom Jensen managed to get just in front again. Going back, Nygaard.
Yeah, Dentist has made the overtake on Kovalainen.
Yeah, but as Robert Nygaard makes the move on to Victor Berlin. Hyman looks to make another.
The Hyman trying to overtake Jansen
again.
Straight. He just did.
These two seem to be fighting the entire time now. Can they keep it going? Oh, and like Tucker Hakkinen just loses it down the braking. Hits the wall, but decides to keep going. So Robert Nygaard on the right of the back of Victor Berlin. Can he make the move stick? Victor Berlin gets very wide there, out of the Lesmos. Manages to just get in front there.
You know, Whitford is just running away. 5 seconds ahead of Hyman now.
Yeah, he managed to get a very good lead, and they managed to just get away from anyone else. Whitford goes very close down the back. We're just looking at the back wing of Nygaard's car. It's very slow there. Does Victor manage to sneak up the inside? Looks like he might be able to. Does he have the straight line speed? No, he doesn't. So he slots him behind, but I think it's very much the case. He's got the slipstream to engage and he'll be back side by side, but doesn't look like he's got enough time. The Lada seems to be a bit quicker in the straight line than the Citroen. Saying that though, he does manage to get better on the brakes. Manages to keep going. He now goes side by side again with Robert Nygaard. Inside line. Doesn't look like he drops out again. There's a couple of close races going on here. Some people seem to be having a real hard time overtaking. There's a lot of slipstreaming going on. People trying to get good corner exits. As once again, Dwelling gets very close to the back of Nygaard's car. They can't make the move, and now I think on the back of them, Hakkinen and Sebastian are coming back at them as well.
Yeah, Brunier is gaining on Hakkinen.
So these two probably want to get their fight finished because they don't want to be swallowed up by these two cars behind them.
Looks like Jensen may be taking another move onto Highwoman on the straight leading up to the Parabolica. He sticks behind for now. So probably trying to get into the slipstream on the main straight.
Yep, as all these three cars are all very close to each other now, each of them within a second of each other now. So it's probably about a second covering all four of those cars. They all go wide there. Hakkinen goes wide. Hakkinen goes into the wall.
Yeah, he tried to make a move on Berlin there, but there wasn't any room for him to fit. There was
too
no
much moving
gap
around, I think, for him. And
so he had to move around in order to avoid hitting them. I think there was just no room. They still tried to find a gap that just didn't exist.
Speaking of that, though, I believe that Nygaard managed to get Gabriel and Sebastian managed to get past Victor. So Victor lost a position out of that, and I believe it's because Victor did quite a lot of defending work. They might have lost a bit of time, but he's coming on the back now of Sebastian again. So looks like it's not over for him yet. Now, this is the fight for P10. So this is all the way down the order, and some of these people should be way higher up, but they've just made mistakes, had stuff happen to them, and all the way back down here. So
yeah, that is the nature of touring car racing.
And Steve Higgins looks on the back of Toka Spliff. Toka Spliff's all the way up in P6. Higgins, who had a very good qualifying, fortunately is down in the P7, so he's still going to make 2 positions up to get back in the position he originally qualified for, which I believe was P4. So he's looking to make a move. He goes out the inside of Ascari. No, he gets knocked and now turned the wrong way. Can he get back on track quick enough? He crosses the track. Bit dangerous there, but hoping he can get back going before this next gaggle of cars come through. And it doesn't look like he's able to, unfortunately. That's really unfortunate for him. So what was a good start to this race just got worse and worse, and now he's all the way down to P13.
Yeah, and Jensen also went wide on the exit of Ascari, so he's now a bit further back from Highwoman again, not able to make a move again on the start-finish straight.
Now on board, Tom Dent is defending from Kovalainen, who is in P5 and P4. Doesn't look. Kovalainen looks around the outside of this chicane, but it's just not there, and Dent has managed to get away.
Brunier now closing in on Nygaard on the main straight. He can't get close enough to make a move yet, but he'll be maybe trying on the next lap. The front of his car looks a bit bent, probably from that collision. Maybe a collision they had earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know who else was involved in that.
So Jensen.
I think it was it Haynes? I think it was Haynes.
I believe they had a very early collision, those two.
Anyway. Nygaard messes up a bit through there, but in the second chicane, causing Brunier to have to slow down and also run wide into the gravel. Didn't get too far into the gravel though. Oh, with someone behind him goes a bit wide.
Oh, Hakkinen makes position on Tom Dentist. So Tom Dentist, I believe, went into the gravel as Ascari. As Thomas Jensen's looking to make a move onto Highwoman again. He was faster through Ascari, but unfortunately he can't really overtake there very easily. So he slotted back behind. He's going to probably never go down the start-finish straight with less than 2 minutes to go as he's approaching the 1 minute mark. So this is probably going to be the last lap of the race. There's a slight timing bug there because Victor gets pushed up all the way P2 as they go side by side into the first chicane. Can they make it work? And they go. And Thomas manages to slip it up the inside there, so he makes the move again. With 1 lap to go, can he hold it?
Brunier getting very close to Nygaard on the main straight now.
Yep, they go side by
Goes up on the
side.
outside. Nygaard stays on the inside. But he's trying to make the move. Does he?
Makes a move, he makes the move. Managed to slip in front
Brunier
again.
ends up in front of Nygaard.
Nearly a similar move to what Thomas Jensen did to Danny Hyman, so both Larders been defeated with the same move, it seems. As Nygaard is right in the back of him now. Yeah, Sebastian does have some damage to the front of that car though. It's definitely there as the clock slowly ticks down to 0. Looks like it's going to be a very dominant win for Mark Whitford as he's still in the lead. You can just see him in the shot here as we watch Hyman have a go at Jensen again down the straight. Jensen takes the defensive line. Doesn't make anything happen of it, unfortunately. Does he make it work? Goes at the
Nygaard
inside.
goes on the inside of Brunier through Ascari.
As Hyman goes on the inside, but just gets slopped behind.
Yeah, Nygaard has taken the position back from Brunier.
As Whitford crosses the line to take the checkered flag. Thomas is Jensen second, Daniel Hyman in third, unfortunately. What a close finish. Hakkinen in
Brunier making the move on Nygaard now through the Ascari on the inside.
through a parabolica. Goes a bit more contact there between
Very
Robert
parabolica.
Nygaard. This is all the way down in P9 and P10. And looks like
Looks like he's gonna manage to keep his P9 though.
and that, yes, as they cross the line as well. As Haynes close on the back of them now. Higgins is looking in the back of. And that's
Yeah, they're already across the line.
Let's just wait for Tanner to cross the line now. And that will conclude race 1. And that finish though was so much going on. It was like trying to work out who do we watch. I was like, do we? There was action everywhere towards the end of that race. So, what a great first race.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we had only one retirement in this race, which was Jogging Vibe, who's in the pits. As here's your race 1 winner, Mark Whitford.
But now, of course, for the next race, he'll be starting all the way down in P8.
Yep. Waiting for
And Dando starting in first place.
waiting for the session to end.
Followed by Charlie Darling, Toker Spliff, Tom Dentist, Anton Grivelijn, and Danny Omen, Thomas Jensen, and Mark Whitford.
And we've got a slight issue here because the session is not moving forward, and I think the issue is probably stemming from the fact that Jagus Bibe's car is technically on the server still.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I think he's going to have to leave.
Yeah, or we have to wait for the 7 minutes 37 countdown.
Either or. Some people start returning to the pits. I mean, Whitford had a great race though. Let's just keep. Let's look at it. He just dominated it. Nothing. It was very similar to Thomas's race in GT3, but the difference is he never even got beaten off the start.
Yeah, he was just uncontended P1 from the start. Very dominant win for him, but now he's gonna have to do some overtaking.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how he copes with that.
All the cars pull into the pits now.
Our apologies for the little technical issue right now. With the server not changing to the next session. Trying to fix right now. So hopefully we'll be back to action very soon.
Have to, hopefully, eventually we'll move on. There we go. So there's your finishing position: Whitford, Jensen, Hyman, Coverline, Dentist, Spliff, Darling, Denju, Sebastian Bruni, and Niger. Everyone of your top 10 with Haynes, Berlin, Higgins, Hakkinen, Lively, and Bibe. Unfortunately, DNF'd. So we move on to race 2 now. Let's see where people end up in this race. As we've got, remember, the top 8 are reversed. So, I don't know who finished 8th.
It was Thijs Dendo, I believe.
He will be starting fairly up the grid. He's going to have hopefully get a good start for him, because otherwise he's going to have a bunch of very hungry cars behind him. So Destru is leading the pack, going to the first corner. Can he keep it going as we go green? He doesn't get a very good start, and Charlie, I believe, might be able to get the jump on him. Going down.
Sebastian Bruni got a very good start. Jumped a bunch of cars there at the start.
Yeah, there's a very big pack of cars going down the first corners. Oh, one of the cars, I think Tom Dennis, goes straight across the gravel.
Oh, someone spun. One of the Hondas. I think that was Quiverlinen.
Yeah, Quiverlinen dropped all the way back as Charlie Darling manages to make get first position now. Domtis did cut the first corner, but I believe he gave a couple positions back to make up for it.
Selfie is making the move on Higgins, all the way at the back for P12.
There's a couple of people going off the grass as Mark Whitford
doesn't make it.
And I believe Danny Hyman is still in P8. Mark Whitford lost a couple of position. Charlie Darling looks like he's your current race leader. He's got a couple of fights coming on behind. As Tom Dentis is right on the back of Sebastian Brunier. Let's see if he can make his positions up. Well, Denju looks to make a move onto Darling. As it will come through the Ascari chicane, I mean. Denzu looks very close to him now. Side by side going down to... And this is the first lap. As a couple of other cars seem to poke out as well. As Denzu is still behind. Charlie's got the outside line, but it's just in front now.
Mark Whitford going side by side with Jensen on the main straight now, but there's a lot of cars on track, so I'm not sure he will have the ability to make a move.
Yep, as you can see right at the back, Kovalainen I think did spin the stars all the way back there, 8 seconds behind the last place car as they get into the first chicane for the second car round. Time, couple bits of contact, some people are slow, it's very close, there's a big pack of cars. 3 wide possibly going around this corner. Some cars do decide to slot in behind. As you get... It's a bit of contact there, as I believe Daniel Homer has a big lunge on Sebastian. So they go side by side again. As Jensen's looking behind both of these cars, trying to make. I mean, it's not Sebastian. It's Mark Whitford. I mean, as he managed to get past both Andy and Jensen now, and Haynes as well. So he's making up a couple positions now, trying to get back into that first place. Jensen goes very wide down to Ascari. As Dentis now looking to move on Sebastian Brunier. Charlie getting a very defensive line so far into the Parabolica. As Dendru is also trying to close on the back of them.
Häkkinen getting close to Nygaard as well, with Tom Jensen right behind him. Not sure how Jensen ended up in 11th.
As Dendru takes the lead of the array. So, but then Charlie Dine comes back at him again. So these two are fighting for the first position, which is a complete opposite of last race when we were fighting for second. So Dendru and Charlie go side by side into the second chicane now. Charlie on the inside, and I believe Charlie just managed to cross in front and keeps the position. There's one. Dendru nearly goes sideways then. Nearly goes sideways, loses a bunch of positions though, unfortunately. That's going to be annoying for him. He's going to be kicking himself. He took a bit too much curb then, and just got the curb decided that he was not allowed to go there.
Well, we have Dantes going side by side with Whitford. Whitford takes his position, moves up into P4.
Has got Hyman behind him as well. As he moves all over the place, trying to make a move around Whitford. He tries to look around the outside of Ascari, but looks like he may just lose a bit of traction, and then Hyman makes his way through as well. He goes very wide there instead. Tom Jensen's all the way down P10 right now.
Yeah, he's just making the move on Häkkinen up the inside of Parabolica.
Mark Whitford looking to make more positions again. He's running the back of Toka Spliff now. So he's on fire right now. He's trying to get back all the way up into P1 again. He started in P8. He's making his way up all up the grid, and he's now got Toka Spliff as his next target. So he gets more and more slipstream, pulls out to the side, looks like he's going for the move into the first chicane, and does so very easily. Not much of a fight put up by Toka Spliff then.
Häkkinen seems to have moved out of the way there at the chicane, just letting Tom Jensen by. At least I think there was Häkkinen. No, it wasn't. There was someone else. Or the timing just glitched out. Yeah.
I see Häkkinen's all the way back in P10 right now. So Tom Dent is running the back of Dendru, who, remember, started this race on pole due to the reverse grids, but now is all the way back in P7. After, I believe, he went on the curb a bit too much and the car basically nearly flipped over. So as Tom Dent is run behind of them now, it's a group of 3 Citroens here, right in the middle of the pack. As Haynes goes into the gravel and gets very slow and allows possibly 1, possibly 2 cars to get past him now, heading towards the Ascari chicane.
Whitford making the move on Brunier.
Yeah, and he gets past.
P2.
So now he's got 1 more car left to go, which is Charlie Darling, who has not shown the best pace so far in the session. So let's see if Whitford can get. But Sebastian's looking like going down the inside of the Parabolica, and he looks like he does manage to get it past him. But Whitford's coming back again, side by side between these two again, coming out of the Parabolica, side by side in, side by side out. And Mark Whitford tucks in behind Sebastian now, heading towards the first corner. Pulls out. Doesn't beat him on the brakes though. Does he? As he managed to go round the outside, but it looks like Sebastian managed to... It's a slow exit though, Sebastian. I believe he's just managed to get past.
Dentist is closing up on Thomas Jensen.
He
He
lost
was
his position.
slipstreaming through the main straight. Unfortunately, it got a bit too much on the curb in the first chicane. So he lost a couple of tenths. Oh, someone's off.
Oh, I believe it's Haynes. Haynes is off the track again in the second chicane. As he gets passed by Kovalainen. Kovalainen had the best race so far. We're back in P13. Now these two are going to have to fight their way back up. There's 11 minutes left in the race. As Toka Spliff is on the back of Sebastian Brunier now. He make the moves happen as Mark Whitford is starting to close on to Charlie Darling. And Charlie keep his lead going.
Oh, one of the Citroens went off the track.
That's Dendrew who moves down, I believe, the order. Yeah, he's going very slow after Scarring. Gets passed by nearly... Hagens overtakes him.
Yeah, he just spun at the entry of Scary.
As Hireman's right in the back of Toka Spliff as well, as they get a bit of contact there. Gets the slipstream though. The Lada seems to be very good in the slipstream. But it looks a bit too far apart now to get any of the effects of that. But now Toka's looking for at Sebastian. As he loses it. He loses it again. He's now facing the wrong way, and that's going to be really unfortunate for him. As I think that's Robert Nygaard decides to go stuck the chicane. Doesn't make the corners. There's a lot of smoke going around the first chicane right now. As Whitford's lost a lot of time to Darling, so I believe he might have locked up a bit.
Yeah, I think Houwerman also spun in the first chicane there. He's in P7.
But Thomas Jensen is now in P3. I think that Lada's very good at the curbs because he just did the same curb maneuver that Denji did earlier and didn't flip. So I think the Lada might be slightly better over the curbs. It's a big. So once again, we get another big pack of cars as people make mistakes, and people, which seems to be the common theme of this race, is little mistakes cost people a lot of time, and then they have to go fight back through, which has been exciting everywhere. Great racing all the way through.
Yeah, Hireman going up the inside of Nike. No, he doesn't. He backs out of it.
He looks for the gap, decides to slot in behind for the Scary. As Mark Whitford's closing the gap again onto Charlie Darling. So he's definitely got more pace than Charlie. So can he make it work? And he's got less than 9 minutes now until that checker flag pulls out again. Can he manage to get in front of Charlie, or will Charlie manage to defend it?
Oh, I think there was maybe been some contact there between Haynes and Dendo.
Yeah.
Into the Parabolica. Both are going slow.
Yeah, Toka Split managed to overtake both of them now. As Hireman looks for down the first chicane. Side by side with Robert Nygaard. Does he make the move stick? Yes, he does. Or does he? No, he doesn't. And he might lose the gap to Häkkinen as Häkkinen looks for it, but Häkkinen's not there to really capitulate, but he's nearly there. Very close racing so far. And he's now right in the back of Hireman's car. So someone else got a lock up. I heard someone lock up, then I believe it's Charlie Darling. He locks up there. And Mark Whitford gets in front. So, Whitford, star P8, is now in in first position right now. Just managed to make all his positions up again. Or can Charlie keep up with him though? That's the question that needs to be worked out soonish if possible. Charlie looks to the inside of the Scary chicane. And he's gone on the outside now, but he's going to get the inside again. He makes the move stick. So, Charlie's taking the lead again from Mark Whitford. And now Thomas Jensen's closing on the back of them both. So, I think this race has got a few more things to go, tales to tell, as we're into the 7-minute mark. Hakkinen looking in the back of Homan's car, but then loses the position again. So, been a little scrap between these three people. Whitford looks for again at the first chicane as a possible tricking opportunity. Gonna have the inside.
Well, it's 3 wide into the first chicane. They all slot in nicely together, although there was some contact there.
I think.
Oh, one of the ladders was off into the gravel.
Hireman's lost a bunch of positions there.
Yeah, Hireman was off into the gravel at the first chicane.
He's lost a bunch of positions. He's all around P11. This race seems to be a bit messy in the first race, as Robert Nygaard makes a move onto Tom Dentist in the second chicane, but can he make it work as Hakkinen's coming back again? And also I think Sebastian Bruni is going slowly, so...
And meanwhile, it seems Darling has lost the position to Jensen.
Yeah, Jensen managed to make it free. He goes very wide into the gravel there, Darling. We just flick over to him just then. And... Fortunately, might look like Mark Woodford might have a repeat of the first race, managed to get away now. Doesn't look like anyone's really that close to him on pace. As Timothy Haynes has stopped on track, and he's in the pits, that's why. He is in the pits now. Look on Hakkinen now on his onboard, he goes on the right in the back of Robert Nygaard's Alada. In the slipstream, but he's sort of not completely in it. He's sort of sticking half his car out, which may not be the effective way of doing things.
Yeah, Krivalainen gaining on Higgins. He just had a look up the inside, but decided not to go for it through the Parabolica. Although he does get into the slipstream on the main straight. Can he get close enough to make a move into turn 1? Doesn't look like it so
goes
far.
Possibly 3 wide into the first corner. No, it doesn't. It does. Robert Nygaard looks like he's going to make a move on Dentist.
So Krivalainen tried the late braking move onto Higgins, but it didn't work out, and he had to cut the chicane. As he ends up behind Higgins again.
As Thomas Jensen gets very close to the back of Whitford, so Whitford must have an issue in the first chicane or something, because the other 2 cars are close, very back up onto the back of him. Can Jensen make the move work around Whitford? He's getting very close now.
Hakkinen just made a mistake at the second chicane and lost a bunch of positions. Very difficult to keep up with everything right now. So many cars close together.
This is the same issue we had at Zandvoort. There's lots of close racing going on in this class. It seems to be a very close class to go in terms of racing. So as he gets in the slipstream into a Ascari, Thomas Jensen's looking like if he can get a good run out of it, he may be able to overtake Whitford again, but then again he loses it. I think Whitford's just quicker for Ascari than most people is. That seems to be the point where he's managed to gain a gap. As the 3 front runners are.
As Hakkinen is now closely behind Krivalainen.
As Higgins is on the back of Sebastian Bruni as well.
Almost side by side for Parabolica.
As Stephen Higgins looking at
up the inside on the main straight. 6 behind again.
Speaking of this, Higgins is looking at Sebastian Bruni to overtake as well. So as they go into the first chicane, looks like he slots in behind for now.
Yeah, Hakkinen going out the outside of Krivalainen.
Got the inside now. We're gonna get the better run of it. No, he doesn't.
There's some contact there.
And Harriman's looking to make a move. There's a big bit of contact there.
That's a big contact, yeah.
Higgins gets tossed into the wall there by, I think that's Harriman's fault, unfortunately. So we have to review that later. And he loses a couple of positions there. Loses 2. I think Darling lost a bunch of time on the back of Jensen. He was very close, and I guess in the second chicane, he just didn't have the space to do it. So, and also Jensen loses a bunch of time onto Whitford. Sebastian looking on the back again of Robert Nygaard. If he can make a move work. I believe Thomas Jensen also lost a bunch of time onto Mark Whitford, so Mark Whitford might just be able to, with nearly a minute to go, I think Mark Whitford might though, manage to secure this luckily. But you never know, it's racing. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Yeah, Jansen is 1.2 right now, so I think if he doesn't manage to make any mistakes, then he should be good for P1.
As Sebastian gets very close to the side of Robert Nygaard into turn 1, but Sebastian doesn't seem very confident in the brakes in turn 1. He seems to be consistently outbroken in that first corner, which seems to make passing for him very difficult, because that's one of the main passing spots as he starts flashing his headlights at the back of Robert Nygaard, hoping to maybe distract him a bit. We are definitely... Oh, there's a bit of contact there! Robert Nygaard's round. Sebastian stops the side of the track.
Oh. Yeah, he had a big lockup into the second chicane. Oh, someone's off into the gravel as well. It's a Häkkinen. Häkkinen was in.
Yeah, Häkkinen's in the gravel turn 1s as well.
The second.
As he gets passed by Dendrew now. Hyman's looking on the back of Kovalainen's car, side by side, going towards the Ascari. Side by side, can you make the move stick? Yes, he does. He goes round the outside of it. This has been an issue before with bits of contact, but he managed to make it stick and managed to make the position up. Well, great overtake there by Hyman. Now he's got Kovalainen behind him, who's gaining on him now. Closer and closer and closer, looks to the outside. Can he outbrake him? Goes round, keeps going round the outside of the Parabolica. Has to slot him behind, unfortunately. It's not the best, easiest place to overtake. So I believe that's the checkered flag drawn. Needs to keep fighting to the end. Will he make the move work? He's got a couple of meters left to go, but doesn't quite do it.
Oh, Brunier making a move on Nygaard.
Yeah.
On the straight there. I'm not sure if he can quite end up in front of him. No, he can't. Nygaard will just take P10. Brunier very closely behind.
Häkkinen takes P12, and that's the race. We had a few DNFs there, surprisingly. We had Berlin, Dendrew, Haynes, and Bibe all apparently listed as DNFs. I don't think Dendrew was running, so I don't know what's going on there. So Whitford is your race winner for race 1 and 2. What a dominant performance by him, though. He proved the fact that he was quickest in practice, quickest in qualifying, and quickest in the race, it seems, as well. Jensen did a very good recovery drive in the second race, as well. Charles Darling did very well, managed to keep into his positions. And there you go. That is a race. That is the OVRC WTCC Monza race over, and we have the first time we have a 2x winner. Something you've not seen before. I mean, what do you think of that? There was a lot of action everywhere. Again, these cars once again seem to produce action no matter wherever they go.
Yeah, it was very difficult to keep up with all the action again. Just a lot of battles happening all over the field at the same time. And yeah, a lot of crashes as well, I gotta say. Seems that people are still struggling.
Some people seem to just not be able to quite get these cars under control. They're quite different beasts from what you normally see. But yeah, that's such a different car from what you mostly race. Most of the time you're sort of racing rear-wheel drive sort of cars with traction control and stuff. But I believe we're going to be able to get an interview with Mark Whitford, so he's going to be with us just now. Hello, Mark.
Hello.
What a great performance by you in both races then. I was going to say that first. Dominant during practice, dominant during qualifying, and then race 1 was, and again, another complete enough for domination. How was race 1 from your perspective?
Yeah, race 1 went pretty well. Got a good start, and just gapped Dandy and Tom. It was surprising. They were showing good pace in practice, or sorry, qualifying. So they were. So it looked like it might have been a bit tighter than it actually was, but yeah, no, it was more like just a hop lapping race.
I mean, during qualifying, your qualifying time was slower than your practice time. Was there any particular reason of that, or was it just one of those things where you got a good lap during practice, but you just could not recreate it in qualifying?
I think it might have been track conditions. It seemed to be a little bit more overcast, at least in this river, than it was in practice. But yeah, it was three tenths off my fastest time, and I managed to go faster in both races than I did in qualifying. So I don't know, maybe just the track conditions.
And then during race 2, where you obviously started P8 because of Earth's grids, you dropped a few positions towards the start, but basically managed to slice your way through for most people. Was that really a challenge on your part, or was it just sort of, again, very much you felt like you had the pace advantage?
Yeah, say Dandy and Tom both started in front of me, so they're both very quick and very hard to pass. At the start, I kind of bogged down and had to dip the clutch and try and get a bit of wheel spin up so we could get off the line. But once I sort of got in front of Dandy and Tom, it was sort of a little bit easier. And then I come up to Charlie, and obviously we had that incident in turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, you had a bit of a fight with Charlie Darling, which is sort of when he managed to inherit first position after he had a great start. Was that sort of more of a was that sort of difficult to overtake him, or was it again sort of quite an easy overtake?
The Volvo has a very good top speed in the slipstream, so it was inevitable. I think it would have been easy, but it's more the defending that stops you passing, and no one was really putting up a fight when it came to defending.
Anything you would like to add, Erwin?
Yeah, just want to congratulate you for a dominant victory. Very well done.
Thank you. It was a good races. I had good fun.
We had good fun watching it. It was a great race on everyone's behalf. And again, well done on your double win, I guess.
Thank you, and I will definitely be watching those 2 races back.
In the meantime, we've got some news from Victor Berlin. He missed race 2 due to technical issues.
Yeah, I saw that as well. He's in a bit of issues. Of course, Dragon's Vibe had his issues, which meant that he couldn't race in race 1 or 2. I don't know about the rest though. We don't have much news outside of those 2 incidents. But other than that, it was a very good race, very close race throughout the field. I say race 2 was a lot more interesting than race 1 again. It seems to happen when the order's a bit shuffled up. You always get quite interesting results. So that sort of concludes our coverage of this race at Monza. Anything you'd like to add, Erwin, before we close the broadcast?
Yeah, it was a very interesting race again. It will be interesting to see if we're going to get any reports this time around. There's certainly some discussion going on right now in the Discord chat. So we shall see if that ends up changing the final results. But thank you all for watching, and see you next time.
Yep. See you next time. Next week we'll be at. It'll be once again the GT cars thundering down the track at Shanghai International, track which we've never been before in the OVRC, and a track which not many people have been before anyway. So interesting result of a track which balances out all main aspects of a car: handling, straight line speed, acceleration, deceleration. It's going to be an interesting fight, I think, between the top runners as normal. Thank you all again for watching. I've been Alex, this has been, and also Erwin, and this has been the OVRC